What is going on? Florida State family, Seminole Nation in the 863 tribe. It is your boy, oh God, POLK, a.k.a. 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 the GOT. Damn truth. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there if you celebrate it. If not, well, happy whatever day it is you celebrate. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays. Not because of the meaning. Obviously, I don't think anybody celebrates it because of the damn meaning. It's because I'm fat and I love to eat. But on today's, what is this? Episode 68. 68 going strong. Episode 68 of The Hangover. Go put that back. Grab it. Thank you. Episode 68. This week leading up to this Florida game, man, has been kind of eventful. Go put it back. Man. It's been kind of eventful, man. We flipped the quarterback. We've got a certain running back that continues to. I don't know if this running back is trolling us or if he is seriously dropping hints. I mean, I'll let you guys tell me, but this guy, like every other day, is putting something on his Instagram or deleting post off of Twitter. You guys might know that running back that I'm talking about. You guys might know that quarterback that we just flipped, right? Bunch of other rumors going on out there as the transfer portal continues to heat up. Some decent names have already hit the portal. I'm sure more soon to come. Big news of a certain D tackle that I've been extremely high on. Well, he's visiting Friday, apparently. Pushing his Ohio State visit to the side. I don't know, looks like Mike has something against Ohio State. Scheduled to go to Ohio State Friday, which is, or I'm not Friday, but this weekend, which is a huge game. That's what, 2 versus 3, Ohio State, Michigan, and instead has decided that he would rather go to Florida State versus Florida. Certain D tackle, you might know who I'm talking about, right there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff heating up in the recruiting. Transfer portal, potential transfer portal. We'll see how that plays out. And on top of all of this, we have a game. We got a game Friday against a team that decided they wanted to lose to Vanderbilt, another JV football team in the state of Florida that we have to go out here again and prove that we the big dogs of the state, prove that we're going to run through them. Hey, I got no problem eating gator tail for Thanksgiving because that's what we're going to do anyway. So with all of that said, before we jump into all of that, let's hit a roll call up real quick. I apologize for the late start. It's Thanksgiving Eve, so we had some things in the kitchen going on that needed my attention. But I'm here now. We started now, and we finna get this thing cracking right now. But before we do all of that, we gotta pay the bills. And y'all know what that means. Hit my like button and share the video. At the minimum, hit the like button. Like button's free. Sometimes I don't even understand why we gotta ask to hit the like button. It's free. You don't have to pay nothing. You ain't even gotta get in the comments and speak. Just hit the like and share the video. Continue to grow this channel. Continue to grow this community. That's how we pay the bills. Now let's get to a roll call. And then let's get talking about what we came here to talk about, man. Let's start with FSU, Tony, a member of the 863 tribe. Nicholas Johns, Gaming Wizard, Kenny Hayden, Priscilla Chestnut, Noel Power, Certified, member of the 863 tribe. Jonathan McIntosh, Hannes, Black Shear, Noel Power, Seminole TV, Terrence Phoenix Ali, member of the 863 tribe, Todd Pope, Jay Noel, Jay Hutch, Tevin Strong, Davius Freeman, Tyler Hedden, member 863 tribe, M. Roar, Island Boy, Robert Garcia, Lewis, Insane Mob, Anthony Sanders, No Blooded, nor Bell Central, the official GOAT, is in the building. Champs 99, Raymond James, let's get it. Vontae B in the building. And if I missed you, I probably missed you because I didn't scroll all the way to the top. So continue to hit that comment section. Again, 63 people in the building on Thanksgiving Eve. I should have 63 likes. Instead, I got 45. Hit my like button, please. Where do we start? Marcus Lewis, member 863 Tribe in the building. Where do we start? Where do you guys want to start? Let's start with Brock Glenn. When did I post that? Was it Saturday? Man, hey, I'm ready whenever you are, bro. You let me know. I'm ready whenever you are. Jen Fari in the building, and Corey Hall said he got the gator meat on the grill right now. Saturday, I believe it was. Saturday, Whitfong comes out, and he doesn't crystal ball, I'm sorry. He dropped some news on an FSU message board, basically insinuating big news this weekend, right? Big news. Conveniently, around that same time, Cedric Baxter, who we will get into, don't worry, puts out a video on his Instagram of a Dalvin Cook video and which looked to be produced by FSU. So people were putting one and one together, bro, and we were getting two. Like we were like, oh snap. It wasn't that though, which is fine. Again, more to come on number 4. Come to find out, FSU was flipping a certain quarterback. He decided to postpone it till Monday. Monday comes, we flip previous quarterback who was actually crystal ball to us at one point, Brock Glenn. We flip Brock Glenn from Ohio State. I think that's a good pickup. Solid pickup. Look, we got to add talent to the room. One of the big reasons why I always felt like we had to add a quarterback, right? One of the big reasons at the time that I didn't quite panic about Chris Parsons was it was predicted that we would get Brock Glenn. You tell me who's better. We can have that debate all we want. One might have a higher upside, whatever the case may be. He was good enough that Ohio State offered him a scholarship. He was good enough that not only did Ohio State offer him a scholarship, they offered him a committable one. And now that Brock has flipped, Ohio State is still in the running. They actually have current Washington quarterback that's committed to them, visiting them this weekend. So Ohio State is still searching for a quarterback. So the notion, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that you would allow one quarterback to leave without one lined up is a little bit odd. Now, I could understand if Ohio State just didn't care about the quarterback room, this particular recruiting class, being as they have the number 1 quarterback next year already committed. That would make a little sense, but obviously they're still in the running to try to sign one, which is always smart. I think you should take a quarterback every cycle. That's just my opinion. Whether or not Ohio State dropped this scholarship, soured on them, I don't know if that's completely true, quite frankly. What I do think, and this is my own personal take here, what I do think happened is I think Brock Glenn didn't feel. I will say Ohio State. I don't know if they soured on him, but there's probably a good chance that he wasn't the priority of the class. And knowing that they had a big time guy for next year, my guess is Brock looked at the room, said, I have a better relationship. He grew up loving Ohio State, right? That's why everybody kept saying, if Ohio State gives him a committable offer, Brock's going to Ohio State, right? That was the team. He grows up going there, or he grows up wanting to go there. They drop the offer. I think he kind of realized that he had a better relationship, a better opportunity, and would have been more invested in if he goes to Florida State. That is what I think happened here. Give me 1 minute, guys. Be right back. My bad, kinfolk. We were on the Brock Glenn situation, and so yeah, that's what I think happened. I think he found that he probably would have been more invested in had he gone to Florida State. So the flip incurred. And personally, again, I think you add a quarterback every class. Obviously, he's not some 5-star, but he is a 4-star. He was an elite 11 quarterback. Um, you got talent to work with. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Continue to add talent to the room. Whether or not Travis stays or goes, solid pickup. Solid pickup. Um, Timmy says Ohio State went after Glenn because they couldn't flip the Baylor QB. That's why I wasn't tripping when we missed out on Glenn in the summer. It's obvious that, again, Ohio State is trying, they want a quarterback this class. So now they're trying to flip the quarterback from Washington, right? Um, so we'll see what happens with them. But as far as us, we got a quarterback for the class. And now you're looking at a team. I think we only moved up one spot in the recruiting rankings, but you got a quarterback, you got a receiver, you have a running back, just one. You might get another one. They're putting together a solid class, right? And now we're in the position where you're winning on the field, about to have a chance to be 9-3. And we'll see what happens if we seal up this season the way we anticipate, and I think most of us would predict. But let me go to the comments and see what a lot of y'all think on the Brock Glenn situation. Are y'all happy with the Brock Glenn? That'd be my big question for you guys. Are you happy with the Brock Glenn signing? Is it not a big deal? Is it a big deal? I think it's a big deal. Anytime you add a quarterback, it's a big deal. I don't know if Duffy's the guy, right? I don't know if Tate's the guy. And obviously, we don't know if Brock's the guy. What I do know is you get 3 players to compete. You get 3 players to push each other. What's not to like, right? What's not to like? Hold on a second. Turn it down a little bit. Okay. So yeah, what do you guys think, man? What do y'all think about Brock Glenn and getting the flip, man, and getting a quarterback? Load up with arms and see who rises to the top. Wholeheartedly agree with that. Most quarterbacks this day and age are early enrollees, so it would actually shock me if he wasn't, Jen, if he wasn't an early enrollee. We'll talk about that. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into all of that, Terrence. Don't you worry. So he's better than Buttermaker. Don't know, but can't hurt to find out. And you know what's funny? I wasn't gonna do this. I really wasn't gonna do this because I told myself that 45-3, like that team's in your rearview mirror, that JV team. But guess who doesn't have the lowest rated committed quarterback in the state? Just saying. I'm just saying. We got our sunshine. Right. I agree. No, I agree with you, Lewis. I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I agree with that too. Should have just committed the first time, right? But hey, it's always fun to get big time commitments in November. So they do say, Corey. I watched his junior tape. He recently released his senior tape, but I have not watched it. I watched his junior tape, and of course, highlight tapes. You don't really get to see all the flaws. What the what the people, what we call them, pundits or the analysts, whatever you want to call them, they do say he has some accuracy issues. They say his arm strength is not a problem. They do it, but he does have some accuracy issues. That is the criticism that I've heard. VJ, remember 863 Tribe. Do I feel Travis is coming back? My gut feeling says yes. I think a lot of that just has to do with how much more does Travis want to be in college. He's Travis. I think Travis knows. I think he's situationally aware that he knows he's not on most NFL teams' radars, if any, as a quarterback, regardless of the season that he's had. And even with a great year next year, maybe you're a fourth round pick if you're lucky. Um, with that said, I think it all depends on if he's just done with college or not. If Travis is sick of college, he might try to do other things. If he can deal with one more year of college, because sometimes I listen to him talk, and I sometimes I do get the feeling that Jordan is just done with college, done with done with some of the stuff. Remember, he's been in college for a little bit now. He's been here for a bit. Remember, he started off at Louisville, transferred, and he's been here since. He's been in college about 5-6 years already. Uh, okay, let's go to the next one. 93 people, man, hit the like button. But let's move on to the next topic of so there's Brock Glenn, right? Um, let's go with hold on one second, I gotta check something. Okay, that's not that bad. Okay. No, I agree. Accuracy can be fixed. I absolutely agree with that. Um, Baxter, guys. Okay, I alluded to Baxter. He's probably the second biggest, might actually be the biggest story, if we're being honest. I know Glenn. Glenn is the fruit that he's actually added to the class, but Baxter might be the bigger story because Baxter continues. And I'll let you guys tell me. I mean, if you're not following this situation, well, for one, are you really a Florida State fan? For two, do you live under a rock? And for three, if you haven't been following it, I'm finna fill you in on it. Baxter continues to, again, I don't know if he's trolling or if he's legit interesting. Um, M. Roar says Baxter's going to break one fan base's heart. I feel like if he was to break any hearts, I'm not saying that Texas doesn't want him. Obviously, do, but I feel like we're way more invested than the Texas fans are. I just feel that way, but I could be wrong. Obviously, I'm not a Texas fan. I'm not in their space, so I don't know how they feel about this situation with Baxter and him visiting Florida State and tweeting all this FSU stuff recently. Um, I'll get to the transfer portal stuff here in a minute. Right after Baxter, we'll talk portal. We'll talk a little bit more recruiting. Then we'll get into Florida. Um, when Brock Glenn committed, Baxter tweeted an emoji, the thinking an emoji where he's looking up like that, right? and then deletes it almost as soon as he tweets it. If it didn't mean anything, I'm not sure why he would delete it, right? Obviously, he saw the flip and he tweeted something as to insinuate, I'm thinking. Then last night, was it last night or today? No, I think it was today. Today on his Instagram, he's in full FSU gear, posting a picture on his Instagram. Again, what does it mean? I think it was last. It was either today. Regardless, I don't know what it means, guys. You guys tell me. Is he flirting? Is he trolling? Or is he legit dropping some hints here? I got my own opinion, but I'm interested to hear what y'all have to say. See, this is what I don't agree with. I know people are getting this because the Longhorn, they had a interview with his father. I'm not getting those vibes. You can read between the lines, or you can take for what you read as whatever. I don't agree with this. See, I'm still reading this stuff. I just don't agree. Hold on, guys. Bum, 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 bum. I think they're playing the game. Now, I'm not gonna say that we land Cedric Baxter. There's no way of me knowing that. And a lot of you, I see a lot of you are saying that y'all ain't paying it no mind, that y'all don't really care, y'all think he's not serious anyway, and that's fine. I don't even blame you for feeling that way. Rule 101 that I've learned about recruiting. I agree with this. Rule 101 that I've learned about recruiting is you follow the visits. Who's been the most recent team he's been visiting? At one after another after another. What I've learned in recruiting is you follow the visits. And I'm telling you right now, the room is big, but it's never too full for a talent like Baxter. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got a lot of players. Don't get me wrong. It's never too full for a talent like that. Anyway. He's playing a game, and you have to follow the visits. What is his dad going to do? Is his dad really going to come out and his dad's going to say, oh yeah, Texas, we're committed to Texas, but we are absolutely shopping ourselves. Like, how does that make you look? His dad didn't say anything in that interview. In my opinion, that was anything other than game. That's all I'm saying. You guys can take it. People want to say this is a Nick Cross thing. I don't see it. He's not Nick Cross's dad. Oh, he was stopping Nick from actually taking visits. At the end of that recruitment, he was shutting down Florida State completely. This isn't that situation. So you don't take what you've recently seen and try to put it on this, because it's not, you can't correlate the two. Don't speak what you think. Let's speak what we know. And what we know is that the man's been on campus. It was like 3 weeks in a row. Clemson, the man's been at Florida State. The man's been taking visits to Florida State the last month, basically. He's been on campus. So whether we get him or not, that's a whole different conversation. The question I'm asking is simply, is the smoke real? I think it is. GT Wake Clemson, thank you. I think it is. I think this is not a repeat of Marvin Jones, but you believe what you want. Anyway, and first of all, I never thought Marvin Jones Jr. was actually going to sign. It was just wishful thinking on my part. It was a hope. But I'm not going to revisit Marvin Jones Jr. because this has nothing to do with Marvin Jones Jr. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. If he wasn't taking the visits, but was just posting Florida State stuff on social media, then I would agree that Well, it doesn't seem like he's all that serious. Why is he wasting his time on the visits if dad is controlling his recruitment? So we take it for what it's worth. I do think where there's smoke, there's fire. That doesn't mean you flip him at the end of the day. And I know how that's gonna go. If you don't flip him, people are gonna say, "Well, his dad did whatever." Okay. Um, Again, I don't believe that. I don't see what an in-state father-son duo in the state of Orlando sees at Texas more than they would see at Florida State. Especially with talking about the running game. That I don't know if he's visiting anywhere this weekend. That hasn't been revealed. Um, I know Texas also plays Friday, but they play Friday in the afternoon. Um, they play Baylor. So I don't know. I don't know what he's doing this weekend, if he's doing anything this weekend. Um, I think sometimes, man, we got to stop pretending like we know stuff. Anthony says, I would say this. If his dad wanted him at Texas so bad, he would tell him to cut it out with the social media. They're playing a game. They're playing a game. Like, there's gamesmanship here. That's just me. It's gamesmanship. So what I believe is partly taking place is you play both sides of it, right? You put a Texas on notice. Maybe they're trying to get more of an NIL benefit or whatever. Not too sure. But you tell Texas, hey, this is what we're looking for, and we're interested in this school. And at the same time, guess what you're telling Florida State? You're telling them the exact same thing. If you want me to come back and recommit, well, this is what it's going to take. Ultimately, he'll go where his heart leads him. I don't believe he's being controlled. And unless anything else comes out that would change my mind, right, then I have a different take. But that one interview that everybody's jumping all over, sorry, that ain't enough for me to believe what everybody's trying to claim. So, NIL, Texas, FSU. Again, yeah, we can play the NIL game. It might be some of that definitely going on. I will go. Let's say this. Florida State has 1 5-star committed, and we're gonna assume that they are hooking Hakeem up with some nice NIL stuff. Baxter would be the second highest rated commit you were to sign? I don't see why, if you're Florida State, you don't invest all you can in the NIL. And I'm not saying they're not. It's just, we use the NIL to say, well, a guy didn't come here because NIL. Like, the players that do commit here, I guess they don't care about NIL, and the players that don't, the only reason they didn't because of NIL, right? We kind of, it's funny how we use that excuse. NIL, I'm not saying doesn't play a part. I don't know if it's the deciding factor. Again, guys, kids have been getting paid under the table for 50 years now. All NIL does is put it at the forefront. If a school wants a kid, they'll drop a bag, point blank, period. Island Boy says Baxter's on his way, no doubt. Shane is definitely pleased about Glenn. I don't think blowing the Gators out has much effect on his decision. I don't think blowing the Gators out or necessarily even winning that game has much to do with the Baxter's decision either. Yeah, we'll be good. I think we'll be a good room with or without him. But again, you don't have anybody in that running back room right now, currently, or committed that is, put it like this. Baxter is 17, 18, whatever he is, and he's already the size of Trey Benson. Just think about that for a second. Trey Benson is listed at what? 6 foot, 6'1", 215. Yeah, Baxter's that size now at a high school. You don't have anybody in the room or committed that is Cedric Baxter. So personally, I would rather have him. I'm not saying he makes or breaks anything. Well, I take that back. He might not break anything, but he damn sure could make something. And that might be the case, Lewis. He might definitely be trying to get the best deal, which I don't blame him. And if Florida State's serious, if you want to be taken serious, Mike Alford, Mike Norvell, This is a guy that you got to put all your resources in my opinion. I think you, and I can understand why you'd be like, but this would be a major win, and it'd be a major look. We talk about Hunter, we kind of talk about him a lot because the Travis Hunter flip was it was more than just losing the number one player. It damaged, in my opinion, the logo. That damaged the logo. Well, guess what? If you can win a recruiting battle against Texas, that's how you get back to showing, oh, Florida State is serious on the trail, right? PR, man. You need some good PR. What's up, Irv? Well, they already have another running back committed. It's a running back, bro. Running backs come in all shapes and sizes. There's a ton of them out there. You don't necessarily lose a running back and then go shop for another one. They have two running backs committed, including Cedric. They already have two running backs committed. So just because they lose him doesn't mean they are necessarily going to go shop for another one. They already got another one committed. What's up, Chris? I think you're having a different conversation, Marcus. I think we weren't talking necessarily about when we're going to get to Florida, but I think you're having a different conversation. And Cam Davis is another one. But again, I don't like getting excited about guys that are, I don't get too excited about the 24, 25 kids, man. Because that's a long time, bro. Like Luke, he's dope. And Cam Davis, he's dope. And the CJ, I love CJ Hurd just because CJ loves trolling the Gators. That's why I love CJ. But those guys are so far out, bro. I don't get invested in any of those guys. These guys that we're talking about, they're gonna sign here in the next month. They're in the present tense. That's what I'm on. That's what I'm on. Okay, solid question. This is a segue into our next topic, right? But he says if you can only afford to get one, right? Talking the resources, NIL, and that thing. Baxter or Hall, who you taking? Now, basic, I guess, football 101 says you take Hall. So I don't disagree with you. However, we've seen with this running back, say what you want to about Mike. I think Mike has quieted a lot of his haters. I don't see a lot of them around anymore. But say what you want about Mike, even if you still have doubts. If there's one thing about Mike Norvell that you cannot doubt, that you cannot question, is running the football. He's making Rodney Hill was only a 3-star, guys. He's making Rodney Hill, the few times we've seen Rodney Hill, he looks pretty damn good. CJ Campbell, walk on. See, a few times we've seen him, looks pretty damn good. Trayshawn Ward has been looking awesome. The point is, I agree with everybody that's saying Jordan Hall. I've been the biggest Jordan Hall mark, if using a wrestling term, if you guys watch wrestling. I've been the biggest Jordan Hall mark all season. I've been telling y'all about Hall from day one. So I don't disagree. But what I do think is intriguing, imagine a legit talent. I mean, even Trey Benson, man. He was a 3-star coming out. The only 4-star in that dang on room right now is Lawrence Toafili and Keziah Holmes, but we don't have Keziah Holmes. And I'm very interested to see Keziah Holmes next year because he's legit 220 pounds himself, and they say he runs like a 4.4, right? But can you just imagine Baxter in this system, guys? I would never disrespect Dalvin. But that guy loves Dalvin. Dalvin Cooks is his favorite player for a reason. He wears number 4. Again, I'll never disrespect Dalvin, but I'd be so intrigued to see a legit talent like Baxter in this offensive system with the way we utilize these running backs. It would be so fun to watch that. But no, I am with everybody, right? Hall is the guy you take for sure. Again, I've been the biggest Hall fan from the jump. So you can't tell me nothing about Jordan Hall. I think Baxter would be very interesting to see in this system. Speaking of Jordan Hall, he's visiting Friday. That's huge. Again, you're talking about the biggest Jordan Hall fan. I've called him Timmy. He's actually bigger than Timmy, but I've called him Jernigan-esque. I think he's a difference maker if you can get him, right? I think he's a guy that day one, he's in the rotation, especially with you losing Coop and Fabian. I think it's all pretty. I think we all pretty much know that Fabian's gonna go pro, and Coop's run out of eligibility. Um, and with losing those two, that starting spot's up for grabs. My thought process is they move Briggs back inside permanently, which he's pretty much been playing ever since the emergence of Patrick Payton. They've pretty much pushed Briggs back inside permanently already. Next year, Briggs is already 280. Maybe you can get him up to 290 a little bit in an offseason. Don't think that's hard actually for Briggs, as he lost weight to get back to defensive end. But I think that starting position open. Hall comes in immediately, man. I'm with you, Jonathan. I don't know why. Sometimes I don't know why we got to pick, right? Let's just get both of them. But Hall comes in immediately. Man, he's in the rotation day one. He's in the rotation day one. And he's visiting. He's visiting this weekend. And I actually can't wait to see the list of some of these other big names that might be there Friday night. Again, I don't like that they moved the game to Friday night, but I'm going to be interested to see who actually shows up in Tallahassee on that Friday night. And speaking of that, man, the transfer portal continues to be nasty. Another Miami player has hit the portal. Who is this? Jalen Harrell has hit the portal. No shock. In all seriousness, Miami, they weren't at a rebuild at the beginning of the season, but they're about to go through a total rebuild. They better hope they can find adequate players in the portal. The portal continues to heat up as well. Florida State, as of right now, the only player I know that they've targeted out of the portal is the offensive lineman that was a Gator. And I know he was visiting this past week. He's like 6'8", 320 pounds, or like a huge human being. Don't know if they actually offered him or what's the deal going on there. But that's the only player that I've known out of the portal that FSU has been active with as of right now. What did I say? Hall's 40 time? I didn't say his Hall. I don't know his 40 time. So they actually did an interview with Jordan Hall. He actually addressed that, yes, Florida State did not make his top 5, but he's always stayed in contact with Florida State. He himself has confirmed the visit. So, yeah, I think he's visiting. He confirmed it. We'll see. If you told me, if you ask me who's more likely, Baxter or Hall, I'm going to definitely say Baxter. I actually think, to be honest with you, I think at this point Hall might be a pipe dream. Somebody put in, I think Terrence put it, or somebody else might have put it. And I say this almost every offseason, and he lets me down every offseason, but y'all continue to tell me, he's the GOAT and what. Odell, you get me Jordan Hall, I shut up about you. Get me an elite defensive tackle like you used to, I shut up. Speaking of transfer portal, I see this, and we're going to shoot this down. And this is why I'm going to shoot this down. Not because I have any inside knowledge, because I don't know nothing. Remember, I'm just a light-skinned dude on YouTube. That same Langston, he hinted last year. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, that Trey Sanders, who we'll talk about here in a second, was hitting the transfer portal, and it never came to fruition. I don't know if Marvin Jones is hitting the portal or not, guys. If he does, I'll be the first one to get on here and talk about it. You believe Langston if you want. That's all I'll say. You believe that, again, he hinted, whatever. There were hints last year that Trey Sanders was in the portal. Never came to fruition. There was hints 2 years ago that Trey Sanders was coming to the portal. Never came to fruition. Bing, he hits this year. Well, I'm sorry for Trey. My opinion, 2 years too late. I don't think we got no room for Trey Sanders. Um, FSU's running back room. People want to make a big deal about Trey because 4 years ago he was a 5-star. Well, this ain't 4 years ago anymore. He can't even crack the rotation at Bama. He can't stay healthy at Bama. Why do we take and burn a Scully, a roster spot on a Trey Sanders when I can use that on a guy that's going to give me 3-4 years of eligibility? I like Langston. To be honest with you, I actually like Langston too. I'm just saying, take what he says with a grain of salt. We've been down this road with him before. That's all I'm saying. Me personally, Trey Sanders shouldn't really even entertain it. Personally. Yeah, except Trey Benson was, again, he has 3 or 4 years of eligibility. So even if, remember how I won't say we all, I'll just say myself, even though I know I wasn't the only one. Trey Benson, even this, let's say he wouldn't fully recover from the knee, which obviously he was. We still had, right, he's still a sophomore. We still had a junior year and a senior year of him. You don't get that from Trey Sanders. You legit get 1 year. What's Trey Sanders going to do for us for 1 year? He's going to all of a sudden show us something that he didn't show 4 years at Alabama. He's all of a sudden going to be that 5-star he was coming out of high school. I don't think so. If you want him, I mean, fair enough, but we have other things that we can address in the portal. Running back isn't one. Running back is not one. 6'3" DB, I don't see why not. I would go after him. Get him on campus, see what he look like, see how he move. I agree with you. I'd rather keep our Trey than go after Sanders. Our Trey has actually shown that on a collegiate level he can dominate games. Sanders ain't showed that once in college. Again, been in college 4 years. Been in college 4 years. So I know Trey Sanders is a big name, so everybody got hyped. But again, this is 2 years too late. I don't need Trey Sanders at this point, y'all. We don't need him. I don't know. Again, because he's a big name, because Trey Sanders was a big name for us 2-3 years ago. But again, that's 2-3 years too late. He should have hit the portal a couple years ago. Then we could have this conversation. I think it's a stupid conversation to have now. I think we should continue, and we'll finish up on this portal talk. Actually, we might circle back around the transfer portal, but we'll do a little bit more here, get into Florida, and then we might circle back to the transfer portal because I know there's a lot of stuff to talk about the transfer portal, as in who Florida State should target, what position should we target. I think the primary positions for Florida State should continue to be D-line, offensive line, linebacker, like in this order. In this order, I'll go. Give me at least 2 O linemen, 1 inside guy, 1 outside guy. Oh, man, maybe 2 D linemen, 1 inside guy, 1 outside guy. Preferably focus on the inside guys. I would say if a talented, like if a big time DN hits, maybe go for him. Like I know the guy at Texas A&M that just hit the portal. Who's from Miami, by the way. I forget his name off the top of my head. He also though was medically disqualified at A&M, but he got a second opinion. I think he's back now and he's in the portal. And he was a top 50 player coming out in like 2021 or something like that, or 2020. Maybe check him out. I would get some workout on him before I took a guy that was just medically disqualified. But a guy that high ceiling, but mainly you really want to focus on D tackle. I would not be against the backer. I think they might take two or three DBs. I don't think you need to touch wide receiver at this point. You don't need to touch running back. If you can get a big time, I hate saying the word big time. If you can get a um, if you can get a quality tight end, maybe take that. I've had a bit second thoughts on the tight end room just because you have so many of them. Do you really want to invest another one? Or do you actually want to develop Jabril Powers and Brian Courtney? And Douglas has shown that or Douglas' son, right? Marquise and Douglas. He's shown that he's got some tools. He's got some talent, man. He's getting one-hand catches for touchdowns. He's blocking. Do you invest your time and effort on developing what you got in that core room? I would say yes. Now, for day one guy that comes and supplants all of that, right? But don't take another project out of the portal. If you can get a big time tight end off rip, I would take that. But other than that, man, maybe you stick with your tight end room and develop it. I didn't even see the comments. Who is Grant Dubois? I don't know who that is. Derek Hunter from JUCO's on the list. I saw that he was actually committed to Florida State at one point. Went and followed Jimbo to A&M and then went JUCO route. Get Hall and Bain. Doesn't feel good to have a stable coaching staff. Doesn't feel good to have a stable coach that can develop and make the right decisions with the portal recruit and engage others. Unlike I think you meant doesn't it? Doesn't it feel good? Gotcha. Doesn't it feel good? How much eligibility is that? I think he has a good question. I think he might have like 3. Probably not 4, but he might have like 3 years. What's the word on Lyles? We're losing Gibbons, yes. Lyles don't know yet. 2 linebackers. I don't think both guys go pro. I don't think both backers go. One backer for sure. 2, if you find 2 good ones, I'm not necessarily against it. A D tackle, yep. An edge, tackle and a guard. Only take a tight end if you. Yeah, I agree with that, Marcus. I agree with that. Powers, Courtney, and Douglas are good enough for me. I feel you. I don't even blame you. And I see it. I'm kind of on that same wavelength, Terrence. Like Powers, Courtney, and Douglas, develop that. Develop what you got there. Let's get a kicker. Donnell Harris, Texas A&M is buddy from Liberty City. Did you see the site that said if Hartman doesn't go to? I saw that apparently Hartman wants to play for Florida. I did see that. I don't know how true that is. I don't know how accurate that is, but I in fact did see that. In fact, the tight end room is straight. There's a quarterback in the portal decommit from OSU. Yep, I saw that. There's one that decommitted from Utah. There's one that decommitted from Ohio State. Actually, is from Dillard. He's actually from Florida. The one that is from Texas decommitted from Utah. So there's some DBs out there, man, that we can try to get in the room for. Kicker's a good 40, and then just stick with that. What works? Hartman is like 20. Hey, Hartman and Jordan Travis are from the same recruiting class, guys. I'm late. What the miss, man? We've been talking about Cedric, Portal, Brock Glenn, Seminole T2Ys in the building. I wouldn't laugh. You guys have the lowest rated quarterback out of the big 3. Yeah. So do you think one of our linebackers? I don't think both. I could see one. The one that I think The one that I think NFL teams might be bigger on is Bethune. I don't think people have realized, but Bethune has played like the last 3 or 4 games, and he hasn't been 100% healthy. Um, I'm not even sure he's 100% healthy for this game. Um, I think the NFL teams will look at Bethune first. Again, I don't necessarily think either one goes. Um, Deloach, Deloach has great moments, and sometimes you just gotta watch Deloach. Man, he also has moments where you're like, "Oh, Deloach, you were not where you were supposed to be." But I like both backers. Don't get me wrong. Um, I think maybe Deloach can just stay another year, man. Just stay another year. Hey, you never know. You never know what feedback some of these guys are getting. You got to remember, some of these agents and some of these people don't have the best intentions. So they feed these kids certain things to try to get paid on the back end. One thing about Deloach, I know his father's really active with him and this whole process. Deloach actually has a brother that also plays college ball. I'm not worried about Kalen Deloach getting like used or abused or anything. I think he'll come out if they get solid feedback. I think he'll go. If not, I think he stays for his senior year. Um, T2, I can't help himself. This man's roster is going to this man's roster is going down the toilet every day. A new Hurricane player hits the portal. This man's roster is going down the drain, and he's worried about us getting a quarterback. Boy, they might only have one scholarship quarterback on the roster next year. You better hope all three of their quarterbacks don't transfer out the program. Um, I haven't, and anybody can correct me. I said that last week. Like I haven't been. I feel like Jared Jackson hasn't been getting as much burn as he was early in the year. I think that has a lot to do with Joshua Farmer. Like Timmy said, I think that has a lot to do with Farmer, man. Now anybody can correct me. I'm sure he's still getting some snaps because they do rotate those D tackles, but like I see Malcolm Ray getting plenty of burn. Obviously, 44 gets plenty of burn, but I don't be seeing Jared Jackson out there like that. Somebody said he battling injury, and that might be the case, right? That might be a legit case, but I just haven't seen him out there. Would I take any of the kids that's currently in the portal from Miami? Honestly, I might take that safety that just hit. Jalen Harrell. Matter of fact, let me look up Jalen Harrell. I ain't gonna pretend like I know a lot about him, but I know he got 3 years of eligibility. And if you guys know how I am, if you're gonna attack the portal, that's how you attack it, right? Go after the guys with multiple years, can still continue to be developed, right? Jalen Harrell is a 6'2", 210-pound safety with 3 years of eligibility, and he was a 4-star top 250 guy coming out of high school. I would spin the wheels on Harrell and see if he was interested. That's a solid prospect, guys. Miami just don't know what to do with these guys because, Mario can't coach, right? But I would definitely spin the wheels on Harrell. And see, this is what they do. They call him weak. What makes Harrell weak? Because Mario can't coach him? um, I wouldn't go that far. If some of those players hit the portal, like a Leonard Taylor, yeah, we could use Leonard Taylor. I still say we could use James Williams way better than Miami's used them. We could use number 0 way better than they have. I would take him in a heartbeat. I saw Elijah Roberts. I'll probably pass on him personally. Do I think Quayshawn hits the field next year? I think there's going to be a lot of competition on that entire offensive line next year. I don't know if Quayshawn hits or not. Maurice, if Maurice is still on that roster, which I expect him to be, yeah, I don't. Maurice is probably going to be a starting center again. I should change my name to 453 Seminole TV. Miami can't beat Valdosta High. Now all of a sudden they want Sam McCall so bad. You know how funny that is that y'all want Sam McCall? If Sam McCall ends up hitting, that's fine. No love lost, honestly. I'm still a fan of Sam, but the fact that Miami's so bullish on Sam McCall all of a sudden is so funny to me. Instead of worrying about making their own players on their roster better, they want to make Sam McCall better or try to. Facts. Give us 0, and I'll tell you off rip. We're gonna get 0. We're gonna move them to backer, and you'll see. And you'll see exactly what happens there. Well, they say Miami thinks they're gonna get Sam because him and Cromartie played on the same team last year. They boys better hope they sign Cromartie, but can't tell them nothing, bro. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. they don't know what they want. They just want football players. Them boys about to have a bunch of mechanics and postal men working at the damn playing football for them. Boy, they about to have shade tree mechanics and McDonald workers on that team. Let's talk about this Florida game, guys. We've gone on and on and on about everything, and we ain't even touched on these lizards that we're gonna smash up this week. Their wide receiving core is depleted. All of their starters are pretty much out for this game. Here's the thing about Florida. I honestly think FSU and Florida, I honestly think we mirror each other's in our strengths. Their strength is they can run the ball and they have a good offensive line. Our strength is we can run the ball and we have a good offensive line. Where we take the next step is we have a better receiving core, especially, and I actually think Florida's receiving core is actually pretty good, but they're all hurt. Especially with their injuries, we have a better receiving core and definitely by far have the better quarterback, right? Offensively, though, I think both teams are very good at what they like to do, and that's line up and run the ball. Florida's got a good stable of backs, and they got a good offensive line. What separates these two teams is their defense sucks. Specifically, their defensive line. They have no depth. The top guys might be solid, but after that, it goes downhill, and it goes downhill fast. I'm interested to see that big 400-pound D tackle against our O-line just because the only reason this guy is even being talked about is just because he's big. He's not even that good. He's just 420 pounds, so they talk about him on TV. He's not even that good. He could stand to lose. Honestly, if they let him lose 100 pounds, he actually might be a decent football player. The way we run the counter and stuff, that guy's going to be out of play, and he doesn't have the speed or quickness to make up, right? That's the only question, right? I think can Maurice handle that one? Can 280-pound Maurice Smith handle that boy? That's the only. But the thing is, you run away from it, and it kind of doesn't even matter, right? It kind of doesn't even matter because that guy ain't gonna have the quickness. He might get the initial push, but he won't have the quickness, in my opinion, to make the play. The biggest difference, guys, is again, our defense is has played so much better than Florida's. I don't see And if we do this like we did that JV team down south, if we do it like we did them, you got to show me what position on the field does Florida have the advantage in, because I don't see it. Right? It's because I don't see it. It's hard for me to. But this is what I will say: because Florida can run the ball and because their offensive line is actually good, it limits the possibility of my opinion. Um, it limits the possibility of a blowout because they're going to be able to control clock to a certain degree if we can't stop the run, right? If we can't stop the run, and if and at the worst, or I'll should I say, yeah, at the worst, they can speed the game up, right? If they can still run the ball, try to speed the game up. Might be a quick game from that aspect. I see No Blooded say Trey Richardson is the better QB. What drugs is No Blooded on? Better athlete? Absolutely. Richardson might be the best athlete. I mean, Verse might have something to say about that, but Richardson will be one of the better athletes that hit the field in that game, period. But the better quarterback, please. That's the only thing that Florida State has to worry about when it comes to Richardson. Don't let a big run spark that offense. Don't let a 50, 60-yard quarterback run spark the offense, because then that's going to open up everything else, because now you're worried about that next 50-yard run. Now receivers are getting open underneath. Now the safety's biting up and you're giving up plays over the top. Contain Richardson in this game is honestly probably a cakewalk, if we're being honest with you. Contain Richardson, and this game's probably a cakewalk. I don't believe that BS about the receiving core being injured. I just don't think they want to play. Only one of them got injured. Or you think they just like want to sit out the game, Anthony? Might be the case. All I know is they said they're all out. Richardson's he's a better athlete. So yeah. Upside, sure. Don't disagree. Galaxy, man. We haven't seen Galaxy in here a while. My Hurricanes are much worse than UF this season. It should be a good game between you two. We play cover. We actually play a lot of man across the board. Actually, Darren. That's actually been one of the criticisms of Adam Fuller. Not me personally, but if you listen to, I don't know, some of your favorite podcasts, they criticize Florida State for not being able to play zone, right? We don't have very good zone corners, which is why we man up. For the majority of the year, we play cover 2 man. We play 2 high man. And every once in a while, we get a single high man across the board as well. So we don't play a lot of cover 4. He threw a 40-yard Hail Mary back in the end zone. That is actually true and hilarious at the same time. That's only a Miami saying, bro. Miami comes in there every year saying they bet, right? That's a Miami thing. Florida State, we don't do that. We just gonna let the on-field product show what we are. Again, man, with that being said, I'm not worried about the Gators, guys. I do think this game obviously will be closer than the game against the JV team down south. Like, I do think, we won't put up 45-3. But it all is going to depend on is, can that O-line see where we say, right, our O-line's good, but their D-line has no depth, has no, right? Well, our D-line is the opposite. We're going strength on strength when their offense is on the field. Can our D-line, can Verse and Patrick Payton and Fabian Lovett, can them boys make their presence felt? Because If they can't establish the offensive line, you could get a 38-14 game, which is essentially a blowout. Like you could get that type of victory. If they are able to win their battles, I think it's going to be a closer game. I think it's going to be a closer game. Hold on, let me go back, scrolling the comments. Polk, I've said it and still gonna say AR is big, but truly speed wise, I think Cunningham is shiftier. That is so. Anthony brings up a decent point, in my opinion. Right? We have played a quarterback similar to AR already. Now, but Cunningham did actually give us fits in that Louisville game. I would argue Cunningham's probably a better thrower than Anthony Richardson. But Cunningham actually did give us fits running the ball. So, yes, we have played a quarterback similar. I don't know if, we ended up winning that one, but hopefully we contain AR better than we contain Cunningham. I'll say that. Big game for Fuller. 34-21. Yeah, I like that prediction too. I think that's a solid prediction. I just read this one. 42-27. Wow. I guess we're in that portion of where we're about to pick a score. Trying to think if there's anything else to really talk about in this game. They'll be missing one of their linebackers for the first half. Again, receiving core decimated with injuries, allegedly. Just come out and win the game, Mike. I don't care if you win by 3 or 33. Come out, win the game, because I don't want to discredit an 8-4 season. And ultimately, again, there's nobody in this chat that's going to sit here and tell me 8-4 wasn't what if we would have told you at the beginning of the season that you get an 8-4 season, none of y'all would have complained. I think that, however, when a team just loses to Vanderbilt and comes into this game, you expect a certain level of performance from a team that's won 4 straight games and 4 straight blowouts. Again, a loss doesn't discredit this season, but it's not a good look for 2 years straight to lose to this caliber. They weren't a good team last year, but we weren't either. So that's kind of the excuse, right? And Travis gets hurt. They weren't good. We weren't good. Our quarterback goes down. At that point, you don't have a chance. This year, that's not the case. They still aren't good, but all of a sudden, you're on the verge of having a 9-win regular season and 10 wins with the bowl game. You have to capitalize on this. Okay, I'm not going to go as far as to say Mike is X, Y, and Z if he loses, but it's not a good look. And if we're talking about gaining the recruiting momentum and starting to win over the hearts and minds of the high school Florida kids, which I do think Florida State has struggled here to some degree, well, you need to put the nail in this season, and the nail in the state championship is the nail. Beating Florida is the nail. To come out of this season and send the message. You already sent the message to Mario that, boy, you got a long road ahead of you. Send the message to Billy next, right? Send the message to Billy next. Yeah, you and Mario in that same at the same kiddie table. And y'all got a long way before you come over here messing with me in my state. So we need that, man. We need that win. I'm not gonna lie to you. And in a lot of ways, this is Mike's biggest game. I know I called LSU early in the season. I'm like, this is the biggest game Mike's ever coached in. And he won it. But Florida, this rivalry, what it could mean for the momentum and the shift in recruiting, potentially people starting to see you. You're more than just a guy that gives passionate speeches on video. You're actually a guy who has some substance to his coaching. Your running game is elite. You've completely flipped over a wide receiver room in one season. You completely flipped over an offensive line since you've been here. You have emerging superstars in the Pat Paytons of the world. All of that accumulates to this moment for Mike. That you can put all of that on the table now. And you need this game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You need this game. I don't want to go as far as to say if you lose this game, you're done or any kind of silliness of that nature, but you need this game. You need this game. Just like I said at the beginning of the year, you needed 9 wins to change the momentum. Well, this is hand in hand. I stand by that. I'm glad I was one of. Matter of fact, I'm glad I was probably the only one to say 9 wins. Now, a lot of people started coming 8-4 at the end of this thing. Remember, they started off the summer. Oh, this is a 7-6 win team. By the end of it, they were like, well, we got to get to 8 wins. I'm glad I'm the only one that came out here with 9 off the jump. I just hope they help. They fulfill what we all see. Right? We all see it. We know it's there. We see it. And Mike has a chance to get it done, and he has a chance to put his stamp on this state. He has a chance. What's up, 226 Tim? If we win, we're probably not playing again until after early signing day, if that means anything. Well, yeah, if we win, you're definitely playing a late December bowl at worst, early January bowl at best, right? Well, I think because it's easier to tackle a guy on TV than it looks in real life, especially a guy that's 6'4", 230 plus, and probably runs minimum 4.5, might even be faster than that. It looks like bad tackling, but try tackling that. The 21 point come garbage time payback to make them not go bowling like they did us last year. No, I think they're already bowl eligible, no blooded. I actually think they've already run their 6 games. Of course they will. I told you that night we lost to Clemson that we was going to finish the season 9-3. Okay. I mean, I said it before the season, but touche. Well, I mean, obviously they got nothing to lose. So yeah, they're gonna come out like a wounded animal, but we put wounded animals down, man. So there's nothing to worry about. You're gonna put them out their misery. It's all good. A wounded alligator gets put out of his misery. Make some gator boots out of them. Throw the meat on the grill. Mount the head on the wall. We good to go. We just need to focus on what they do, like the players consistently say. If they stay locked in, I think so. We call them the geckos. I like that. What's up, Matthew? I said 8-4 with losses to LSU, who we beat, Miami, who we beat, and of course we did lose the Clemson and NC State. Kind of crazy, all wide receivers out. If they get blown out, they will have a great excuse. Well, that's the excuse they're already using on Twitter. They're already using that excuse. We definitely were physically outmatched that last year. I do agree with that. I do not see that being the case this year. Gator meat is delicious. By the way, that picture I posted, that's the real gator that we're going to be eating this Friday, by the way. But I don't want us 8-4 anymore. I want us to finish 9-3, of course, because that's where we at, right? Right? That's where we at. You see Ole Miss fans wanting Mike. I did see that, which is absolutely hilarious. 31-7, no passing attack. Okay. You think Fuller blitz heavy like he did with Cuse? You could see a similar game plan to Cuse. I think you have to be careful with blitzing a guy like AR. I don't think Schrader was absolutely healthy in that game. I go back and look at how they played Cunningham, because if the blitz don't get home against AR, I'm not worried about him throwing. But everything, if he gets past the blitz, he has nothing but free grass in front of him. The blitz has to get home. I don't know if AR is the guy you want to blitz just because he can run. Now, at the same token, you definitely want to move him off his square, because once you move him off his square, he's liable to throw you a pick or two. You know, you definitely gonna they definitely throw you a pick or two. Polk, they're 5 and 6. I thought they were 6 and 6. No. Oh, maybe they are because no, I thought the Gators already cinched up a bowl game. Maybe I'm tripping. I know maybe you're right. I thought Gators already had a bowl game locked up. Let me look that up. I thought they were I thought they were 6 and 5 or 6 and 4 last week. I'm almost positive they've already won 6 games, bro. But I'm gonna look it up. Because if they had beat Vanderbilt, they were going to be playing for 8 wins. I'm going to look it up real quick because now you got me. Now you got me questioning myself. Yeah, they're 6 and 5. No, I was right. They are. They're 6 and 5, not 5 and 6. Yeah, I'm looking at it right here. They're 6 and 5. So they're already bowl eligible. I think we need to seal the ends, keep him in the pocket. Our D line will get to him. That's true, but Daniels didn't really start hurting us until the second half. Again, we've played plenty of running quarterbacks this year, and that's the thing. In some ways, we should have a game plan for him. We've played the Daniels, we've played the Cunninghams. I know Schrader wasn't himself, but we played Schrader. Hell, we played Judge Curry Brown, who's a runner. We've played a bunch of running quarterbacks. So they should have some idea of how they're gonna play. And if we are able to do this, they're gonna fold like a wet napkin. Right? Well, it's all of that. Because being big and slow doesn't do anything for you, right? But the fact that you're huge and fast, yeah, it's like a freight train. If we win, what bowl game are we playing in? I mean, that's always tough. And that's hard to predict. I saw one where what's the game? I think the Cheez-It Bowl. That's the one that they have in Orlando. If it against Texas, if we can get the Cheez-It Bowl against Texas, I would love that. Whatever bowl game we get, you guys know how I feel about the bowl games, especially the ones that don't matter. But if you're in a premium matchup, if it's Florida State and Texas, I mean, when's the last time they've played? That's a premium matchup that anyone would love to watch. Florida State, Texas. Hell, there's a chance you could see Bama in a bowl game. I would love it personally. Don't be scared of the smoke. Embrace it. A premium game, I would love it. I think so. I don't think he's going anywhere. I understood he took a visit to Florida, but it's a difference when you take a visit to Florida by yourself and when you decide to go with coaches and teammates. Sam did the same thing last year. He went to visit to Florida with his players and with his coaches and his teammates, and he still ended up signing. If Lucas Simmons had taken that visit as like a solo family trip, I'd be a lot more worried than him taking a visit with a team with his team. The player that you should be worried about isn't Simmons. The player that you should be worried about is POLK. Auburn's pushing, and with the news that Lane Kiffin might be getting the Auburn job, that's the commit that you might want to be worried about, Florida State fans, is Cedric Falk, who is from Alabama. Bring on Bama. I hear you, bro. That's crazy. Like, we've never played Texas. We probably haven't. I can't think of any time Florida State's played Texas. I'd have to go back and look at that, but that's crazy, right? How fun would Texas and Florida State be? Who has a big game? From wide receiver. You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say this guy at wide receiver has a big game and gets a helmet sticker. Ontario Wilson, I think, is going to have a big game against Florida. He had that great catch against them. He has splash plays almost, I feel like, every week this year. I think he puts it all together against Florida. And I think Ontario, um, I think Ontario has a big game. From linebacker, I mean, Deloach is going to have to probably be used to spy. Deloach is going to have to play big if we want the success we have. I mean, I'm gonna pick Deloach, and then corner. What corner has a big game? I mean, I'm gonna go with number 8. Number 8 has been consistently the best corner we've had. So for me, Ronaldo Green. Ronaldo Green. Bring on Bama. Oh, Polk didn't want to read CB. What are you talking about? I didn't want to read CB. Did I miss a comment or something? Hold on, I'll go back up. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. What you talking about there? Did I miss? I don't know what you're talking about, y'all. Y'all know what you're talking about? I'm confused. We never played Texas. I think they break ground on them at the end of the year, but I don't know, bro. Side note: can you imagine Sanders getting the South Florida job? Recruiting would be. I think that'd be a fun gig for him. Yeah, I think that'd be a fun gig for Dion. I legit don't think he leaves. What's it called, though? You really want my opinion on that? I'll give a quick opinion on that. When you make mistakes, you have to deal with the consequences. Now, you can debate it's a rap song. Listen, no one's stupid. I can't get on here. Well, I could, because at the most, I guess YouTube would maybe take my channel down. I can't get on here and, let's just say, throw off a bunch of homophobic slurs, even if it was in a song, and think that no repercussions can happen. Okay? I think I'm more self-aware and smarter than that. A young white boy, I don't care if you're rapping a song, don't videotape yourself saying a word. You made a mistake. I'll say this much. I think Florida did it because they already had Rashada now. From what I heard and talked to, when I talked to some people, that video had been out for like a month already. Like, Florida was well aware of that video. That wasn't like a video that dropped in the next day. No, that video had been out for like a month before they made that decision, before it actually went public, right? They only did it because they got Rashada. So that's a whole different conversation you can have. On the specific act, bro, don't say the word. I don't know what white people's infatuation with that word is. I honestly don't. If you ain't racist, you shouldn't even want to say it. If you racist, then you probably say it anyway. So what? Man, come here yelling. Bye-bye. But yeah, if you're not, I don't get it. I think some white people got a crazy infatuation with that word. They feel like they say it. Bro, there's just certain words you don't say. Okay, females. You ever been around a group of females? They call themselves a certain word. Y'all know what they call each other. The B word, right? That's how they refer to each other. That don't mean a man can do the same thing in that same setting, right? Bro, that's just the way it is. If you don't like it, too bad. So that's my quick thought on that. Do I think he should have got a scholarship pulled? I don't know. I think Florida did it for not that specific reason. I think it was an easy decision because of they already had their quarterback. But I believe every action has a reaction. That was his reaction. Deal with it. What's up, Simone J? Don't want to see number 7. Watch the 6'7" receiver. There's no reason to say it. And if you're black, there's some black people that don't say the word, right? But especially if you're white, again, unless you racist, I don't see what your infatuation with the word is. There's words that I have no reason to want to say, Right, because how hard is it to not rap a song and not say the word? When I'm around my kids and I'm listening to certain music, like with the AirPods on and I'm rapping out loud, there's certain words that I just won't say because I'm aware. Bro, we can go into that conversation deeply. At the end of the day, Florida made the decision. I ain't against it at all. But I also think Florida made the decision because it was an easy decision to make, not necessarily because it was the right decision to make. Irv with the $5. Appreciate your Irv. He says, Poe, what would be the hype song for Florida game? Keep up the great work, bro. Appreciate you, Irv. What would be the hype song? I don't know. What would be the hype song?
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
They can have fun away from me. They always want to have fun right next to me. If I'm in here by myself, as soon as they hear me talking, they want to start having fun. Please don't let 7 see the field. I think the number 20 will start on the other side of the defense. I think 8 and 20 probably get the nod. Pope, when FSU beats Florida, you got to let your son give it. Now, that's too easy. He did it on my Instagram when we were smacking Miami around, so that's too easy. He's been better than ever. He's been better. Absolutely, Ardavius. He's been better. And just like that, an hour and 30 hits, and we've covered everything there was to cover. Well, hour and 35. I think Benson will run for 200. Ooh. He's only 3. He's only 3. Haven't got him into anything yet. I like that one. I knew Timmy would come into the defense of number 7. Rock Frazier says, I think our running backs with the wheel route. I mean, you can guarantee we dial up the wheel route with LT. You can guarantee that happens. That happens at least once a game, and they usually almost always hit on it. So you can almost guarantee that it's in the game plan. I got the tight end Douglas having a solid game, a couple more catches and a TD. I will do a victory shot for you, Todd. I'm 100% black, and I'm a young cat, and I don't be saying the word. There you go. And some people don't say it, man, and I ain't against it. I ain't against it at all. There's just a certain demographics that shouldn't say it at all, but here we are in 2022 talking about that, I'm not gonna lie, Polk. I think CJ Hurd watches you because he says the same things you do. What does he say? I don't. What does CJ say? What does he say? Give me an example. because I don't follow CJ on like Instagram. I follow him on Twitter, but I don't think he's very active on Twitter. Most of these guys are active on Instagram, and I'm not that active. I should probably be more active on Instagram than I am on Twitter, but I find Twitter way more enjoyable. A lot of these guys do the Instagram lives and stuff, and I don't really watch them. Well, Florida's defense is terrible. Like we know that, right? I do guarantee if we win, CJ will have something to say. We getting Pittman and Wilson back at wide receiver one. At wide receiver, yeah, I think both. I don't think they were hurt last week. Well, I know Pittman went out with the little thigh thing. I don't think that was serious. They just know we didn't need him against Louisiana, and I don't think Johnny was really hurt. I just think they didn't want to. They didn't want to, put him out there. Yeah, talked about that already. R. Davis said, "Do you think Baxter is trolling?" We talked about that too, man. But no, I don't think he's trolling per se. And I think him and his dad are playing a recruiting game. Enzo, what's going on? What is going on with the basketball team though, Enzo? The Louisville basketball team. They might be worse than the Florida State basketball team, and we're pretty damn bad. If y'all only lose 3 games this year and next year go 8-4, who's gonna lose their job? Mike? No, man. Every team and every year is different. No. I know we expect the growth. Of course, you win 9 games this year, they're going to be hefty expectations. But there's no way you lose your job going 8-4. Oh, okay, I got you. Man, Twitter's insane, bro. Hey, I appreciate you for being here for that whole time.
Yeah, get more money, more money. Yeah, get more money, more money. Yeah.
Oh God, here we go. That's the way. I know y'all ready to kick me off, because here we go. Do you like AR's confidence? What is he supposed to say? I have no problem with AR saying what is he supposed to say. Just when you say things, you give team sound bites and bulletin board material. That's it. Live up to what you say, AR, but I don't have no problem with it. If I'm a Florida fan, that's what I want my quarterback to say, right? There's a couple clips I need to make, honestly. Louisville's a football school now. All right, here we go. Now, Terrence, that's my cue. Oh, yep, that's my cue. Dustin, bunch of Dustin stuff popping up. That's my cue. Yeah, that game to start the season off next year, LSU and FSU might be legitimately a top 10 matchup. Absolutely. If we get Travis back, I think FSU starts the season in the top 10, especially if Jordan Travis comes back. But that's all I got, guys. I mean, I still got 98 people in here, so I almost feel like I'm cutting y'all short, but it is Thanksgiving Eve. I got to start going to taste test some stuff. I'm about to crack open some drink. I appreciate y'all for kicking it with me on the Thanksgiving Eve, though, for sure. I know big game this weekend, guys. I'm excited. I would have been way more excited had they actually beaten Vanderbilt, because I thought that game would have had a little bit more juice on the back end, but here we are. In my opinion, still a big game. Big game for Mike. Prime time. Only game on TV. We're about to fry up some gator meat and, again, have a good night. We talked Portal, Baxter, Hall, Glenn. A lot of good buzz around Florida State. If you're a Florida State fan, there's a lot of good momentum, a lot of good movement, a lot of positive energy around the program. Don't ruin it by losing to this sorry-ass Lizard squad. Don't ruin it. And with that, hit the like button on the way out. If you did not hit the like button on the way in, again, happy Thanksgiving to all those that celebrate. And if you don't, man, just happy eating day. Like, just go get fat, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna eat. Um, as always, man, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button again. Share the videos. Is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy, and we at ya. Go Noles.